Yeah, listener, I had to find your question. Sorry about that. When they were a while ago, you got to go back to the vids. Look, Gilbert Melendez was a product of his time in MMA. Everyone was doing juice back then, right? So the fact that Gilbert in what was it, 2010, 2011, 12 was using that rub-on testosterone, I don't find it to be any big deal, you know. The story with Gilbert and me in general is about one of ego, right? Gilbert knew I was a lifelong martial artist, one way or the other, and Gilbert used to admit certain things at certain times. Like, I remember when Rose Namajunas did a sidekick on the show, and he was her coach. He said, "I don't even know how to do that," and he said the same thing to me when I used it on Dan Black, right? And that's humbling, right? That's a humble man, you would think, but the inner side of Gil didn't really have that. Why? He was very young, right? Like, he became a star right out of college with Jake and the rest of them wrestle at San Francisco State, and then suddenly they're on top of the world in the fight game, right? Like, if Gilbert had been able to take a step back, a couple things would happen. Number one, he'd have learned how to check leg kicks. Now, I know he had Junction on as his coach. Problem is, when you've been doing something for so long like Junction on, you forget how to do it. Americans got a different way to check than Thais do. Thais can be heavy on their front foot because they've been checking since they were in third grade. Like, we have to be light on our front foot because we haven't been checking that long. So, yeah, it's just, one of those things Gilbert would have learned. I remember the last time I really sparred with Gil, so I'm sparring hard with him because I thought that's what you're supposed to do to help somebody. They're on TV, professionals. I wasn't. Like, so I'm fighting him and I shoot a double and I nail it. And he says to me as he gets up, he goes, "Derek, I got my back hurt. Can we not do that?" And I'm like, okay. But Gilbert always had that kind of poopy face on with me when he had to spar with me. And the bottom line is Gilbert is used to bullying little fighters. Well, he wasn't going to bully me. I was above 200 pounds and, on testosterone just like he was. So that wasn't an option for him. The other thing I feel bad for Gil is the boot camp we started, me, him, Jake Shields up there, could have been a couple $100,000 a year project for us. But their egos got in the way, especially Gil's ego, right? He tried to steal all the money up front, but that's what Dana tried to do with him. I've talked about that story, so I get it. Gil is very street about it. Part of it was Gil's inability to see me as part of the team. I was always just in his mind some freaky outsider, and I really could have helped. But, look, do Nick and Nate do it? And here's something interesting that I'll talk to you about. I think that the biggest thing that came from testosterone use to me, and people would say it is in my mind, but listen, I know what's in my mind and what's not, was my ability to take punishment. Now, what does that really translate to? You can make a mistake, get tagged really hard, and keep going, right? Like, you made a mistake, but you're hopefully not going to make one in the next 5 seconds or whatever, right? Like, so you get your mistakes forgiven, and that's what helped me. Now, what is Nick and Nate Diaz's probably biggest attribute? Their iron jaws. So I used to say, like, how are those guys not have PEDs with those iron jaws? But listen, brother, everybody's built differently. I don't know if they were on it or not. We do know Jake and Gil were. There was a time where, I gained a great deal of respect for Jake Shields. In his stand-up, he knocked me down twice with leg kicks that I checked, and I put that in my book. But looking back on it now, I recognize what it was. Jake had just done a bunch of PEDs, and he was like the Terminator, coming after me. And Jake didn't like sparring with me very much either. That all goes back to Tarek Azim. But all of them bear responsibility for it, right? I'm not going to just blame Tarek, who was able to sweet-talk those guys. Jake more than Gil, obviously. And somebody sent me Jake's interview with Moneyburger the other day, and a guy making fun of him on the thing. And one thing about Jake and Gil, and the guy was saying, well, nobody else hangs around Moneyburger. I said, look, dude, they both just got daddies now. Gil chose Scott Coker as daddy. Jake chose Moneyburg. They're looking for money. And it's kind of sad when you think about it. Like, if they had stuck with me in the boot camp, I was a good enough salesman, and I understood how to talk to lay people. Maybe not those young fighters, right? I've never really been able to talk to young fighters. One of the reasons I'm not a trainer. But yeah, we would have had a ton of money coming in. The business in San Francisco maybe wouldn't have failed, but I had to go to prison anyway, man. So it is what it is. Do I bear resentment for those guys? Obviously, I think I do, right? Like, by the way all that went down. But everybody meets at a crossroad in life, and they're doing different things at different times. And Gilbert did what he thought he should do, and it is what it is, man. I don't really care. I didn't care then either. Why? I was living a criminal life. You know, engaged more with prostitutes than I was with those guys. So yeah, there it is, man. I think he was a victim of his time, if you will. Everybody like and follow for more on the Fight Game.